Hello, guys. Welcome back to a new Team Talks. We are here with Raul Galamba, and he is a distinguished leader with a remarkable career. S- Spanning over 3 decades, Raul had held pivotal roles, including senior partner at McKinsey and Company, where he managed key regions and global practices. Currently, he serves as the chairman of the board of CTT and holds significant board positions at BBVA. His extensive expertise in leadership, strategy, and risk management has been instrumental in driving success across diverse industries. Please welcoming Raul Galamba de Oliveira.
Hi guys, happy to be here. I met Miguel a few months ago. He told me about this project. I found it very interesting. I hope you like it.
So we're going to start with the first question about your early career development. So as you know, Teen Talks help students in their high school. So my first question is, how your initial experiences and roles set your foundation for your career? And for example, your time in Técnico Lisboa as an assistant professor and researcher at Universidade Católica Portuguesa.
Yeah, so I guess that Technic is a top engineering school, a very demanding engineering school. I guess from there I took the ability to manage complexity and to deliver the goods, right? To be able to overcome different challenges. I found all the topics interesting, so I developed a keen interest in learning different things. But above all, I think I took out is the ability to, give me a challenge and I'll make the best out of it. And then at Católica, where I was leading the computer science course, which was fun. I guess that the interest was diversity. So moved from engineering to a business school, and teaching computing was interesting. The diversity and the ability to meet just new people, different environment was really very, very interesting. I found over the years that changing the environment, changing the context is a great way to renew energy, commitment, interest in things. So yeah, I would take work ethic from technical and diversity of interests in Católica.
So now more in the private side. How did your childhood and family help you to be the professional that you're today?
Yeah, so I guess this is true with pretty much everybody. Family played the key part, right? The examples from my parents, the work ethic of my father, the sense of values that I got from them, the importance of discipline. Discipline is a word that I use a lot for myself and for my kids. Sense of responsibility, right? All those words come with my mother and my father in them. There was also, I was born in Africa. I was born in Mozambique, which was a land of entrepreneurship and a land of diversity. Of course, Black Africa is very different from Europe, and so that gave me an openness to different things. Things that some people in Europe thought, oh, I don't like this, or oh, those people are different. I was born there, so I got to learn that since the beginning. And those, again, this topic about being open to the environment is a great combination in my mind with your own responsibility and commitment to take care of yourself, right? I guess it all played a part.
So another question that I have is, you have a lot of experience, right? You had 27 years in McKinsey and Company. So can you Can you describe a little bit of your path and which advice would you give to Gen Z kids that are starting their professional life?
Yeah, it may surprise you a bit, Miguel, but I did not plan anything. I was just taking things as they came. When I joined McKinsey, I did not know I would stay there. I thought I would stay there 1 or 2 years. I ended up staying there for 27 years because McKinsey provided a great learning environment and working environment. And every, say, 3 to 5 years, many things would change. And this, again, this evolving set of challenges was what I wanted. And so I never committed for 27 years. I committed for 3 to 5 years. What does it mean committing to 3 to 5 years? And this could be, you asked me, how could this be relevant for you guys? In any moment in time, I would kind of know what I was trying to build for the next 3 or 4 or 5 years, right? And I was like, okay, let's do this. And I would go for it. And after 3 or 4 or 5 years, I was looking for another thing. And this kind of stints of or stretches of small chapters in a book were the way, and I never knew what was going to be the next chapter, right? But I always wanted to commit to some, but not for. So I guess that this notion, and we talked about this in one of our conversations a few weeks back, this notion of have the dual focus of, having a sense of direction, what you're trying to build, and then making sure that you are doing it really, really well, but not being minded about in 20 years, oh God knows what I'm going to be, where I'm going to be doing in 20 years. So yeah, it was a bite at a time. I would say these 27 years were a bite at a time, and these bites were 3 to 5 years. Some were in Portugal, then in Spain, then a bit all over. First creating an office, then focusing in banking, then focusing in risk management. And the way this perimeter of these things was defined, depending on my interests and on the opportunities, and I was meeting my interests and opportunities, and then things played out.
Yeah. You said that at McKinsey, it was a very good learning experience. Can you describe your learning experience? Was it rough? Was it easy? Was it different? Was it what you thought?
Yeah, imagine you take a place, a working place, where some of the best people around are there. They see the world like you do. They are super motivated. They are super smart. They come from all over the world, and they focus on the most interesting problems there are for large companies. That's McKinsey, and so that's why I stayed there 27 years. Was it rough? I had moments of sometimes was difficult, right? When we had like you guys in school, when you have a project and when you have timeline and you have a deadline and you have to work and you have a team, and the team sometimes is all committed, sometimes it's not so committed, or some people are more responsible, some are less. The problem is difficult. I mean, you have challenges like those, so much more complex, but also with a team that is, I mean, totally professional. So I never did any all-nighters, to give you a sense of difficulty. I very seldom was working in the weekends. I very seldomly, working very long hours. I worked very long hours, but during the day I started very early, finished by 8 or 9. But it was always controlled, and always, I mean, and a lot of adrenaline and a lot of fun. A bit chaotic sometimes. It was not rough, really, not rough.
But did you like that chaos, kind of, or no? Like, did you like the sense of adrenaline, or?
Oh yeah, totally. So, you get to the weekend very tired, but during the week you don't think about being tired. You're just, you have people, you have a sense of impact, right? You have a team, you're sitting with the team, and the team is lost, and they're saying, we cannot solve this. And after 2 hours, you stand up and you leave the room, and people are super excited because you help them find the right approach and the right answer and whatever. You have a great meeting where the client says, this is exactly what we need. You added so much value. So you have a sense that you do important things, and that is fantastic. I mean, just like when you work hard for a project and then it goes super well and the teachers say, fantastic. I mean, just imagine that at the scale, of a 3, 4, 5 month thing for a very large company. It is super inspiring.
Can we talk about your transition from McKinsey to the CTT? What motivated you to change?
So 2 things. First, I mean, after 27 years, after 25 years, I felt I needed the change, right? And I wanted to have like a bit of call it a second life, a second chapter, a big chapter, like in a book, these big books that have part 1 and then part 2, and you finish part 1, it's a full book, and then okay, now part 2. And then I had enlarged the family. I had many kids, and I wanted to also have a different rhythm too. I wanted to control my time with more, manage my time with more freedom. And so I moved out of executive roles, meaning being responsible to run part of the firm. And so I took these different roles. That's the primary motivation, is a willingness to renew, but also interest of having time, more ability to manage time. Those were the 2 things.
I have a question. So, as you said, you're not in the executive position anymore. When you recommend something, is it always done? Is it always like your word is final? Can you talk about the challenges of communication between the board and the team?
Yeah, sure. So a board, I mean, what is the role of a board? The board in a company is akin to, in guys like you, your generation, is like your parents, right? Your parents is the big, and your parents can help you think through difficult situations, can provide advice, but they will not do. You're the executive of your life, right? And your parents are a bit your board. You can listen to them, or you may even not listen to them, right? If you don't listen to them, it's not a very effective board, and you're taking too much risk. Companies have boards to ensure that the owners of the company are protected, so that the managers, meaning the executives, are not doing irresponsible things, that they are doing the right things. So do executives always listen? They listen, but they are the ones who execute, right? They are the ones who execute. And so I feel in every board that when there is an important discussion, the board is always heard. Always heard. And sometimes it's different views within the boards that are difficult to make converge. I mean, your parents typically will not have very different ideas about what you could do. Sometimes they do, and when they have different views, that's also helpful, because you say, could do this, or you could do that, right? As just like in the board. But in important things, the board tends to, out of the discussion, has processes to get into agreement, and then the executives, I mean, normally they actually do, they follow up and they show the results, and then they may execute well or just half well. But I cannot remember any case where a board that I am part of, where the board decided something that the managers did something different.
Yeah. So do you have any proud moments of being as a board member?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's also a very interesting career to be part of boards. They tend to be very I mean, as a non-executive, these achievements are achievements of aligning the board, supporting the executives doing something. Like, again, your parents. The achievements as parents, like at the board of Miguel, will be that Miguel is doing the right things. Miguel is thinking by his own head. Miguel has applied to something difficult and got in, and so it's like it's not in the first person. But for example, and as a chair of a board, when there is a difficult decision that we have to do in CTT, and different members of the board, different views that they have on what should be done. Sometimes different shareholders have different views, right? And they have very opposing views. After 3 months, everybody agrees and they make a decision. And that difficult decision was in the beginning looked like impossible. And we have had cases like that. So that's the role of a chairman. That's where you really feel you have added a lot of value. Sometimes it's simpler things, that one of the executives is lost motivation or has done something that's not right, and you coach and things like that. They happen every day. I mean, really, as a non-executive in a company.
Um, like as everyone know, as being a board member, you need to have a lot of leadership skills. But what other specific skills you had to develop as a leader?
Well, there are so many books about this, or libraries about this thing. This can be articulated in many different ways. McKinsey, by the way, does it in a particular way. So what are the traits? Let me not make this too kind of convoluted. I would say the first one is a sense of direction. I mean, you can associate it with knowing what you're trying to achieve, setting the right level of ambition, right? Having a compass and being purposeful about something, right?
Yeah.
That is one thing. The second thing is liking people, taking interest in people. A leader, people sometimes say, many times say, you cannot be a leader without followers, right? And if you're not going to have followers if you do not have a purpose, but also if you're not good with people, if you're not empathetic, if you're not engaging, if you don't take interest in people. I think was this sense of direction, being purposeful about something. The second one is taking interest in people, enjoying people, enjoying being with people, enjoying helping people, right? Working with people. The third is really the energy and commitment and is really working hard, right? Is taking things seriously and working hard. So I would take those. Probably one way is to say this kind of aspirations, people, and energy would be. But in the end, it will always be about a combination of things like that, in my mind.
Yeah. Do you have any mentors or key people that helped your career as a general to reach your current position?
People sometimes ask me this question, and when they ask me this question first time, I wondered. I really thought hard about this, and I struggled. I ended up concluding that there are some people that are externally motivated. They are motivated by someone or by an inspiration about some cause, or by money, by the way, by incentives, externally motivated. There are some people that are internally motivated, and motivated by something that they are keen to do, right? I'm in this later group. So I have had a lot of teachers, but they were not like one teacher, right? I tend to take an opportunity and try to find in anyone that I'm working with, something that inspired me in that person. So when I meet Miguel, I'm looking for what are the things that Miguel is very good at, right?
Yeah.
When I'm working with a leader, saying what does this guy does really well. So it's a lot of small things, not so much a big thing. But people are different. Other people will be inspired by. I tend to be inspired by the people I work with. In small things, sometimes in bigger things, but in small things. Again, my father is probably the person, but of course the continuity is different, right? But many things from many people. That would be my answer.
You said your father is one of those big, the biggest inspiration. What do you think he impacted you? What do you think that your father did that impacted you a lot, so you want to do the same that he did?
Yeah, it was this work ethic and the consistency, the totally coherent. A family man, always there, always putting himself at the service of the family, always striving to give the right example, doing anything that was needed, doing very hard things, working very hard. So all those good examples, a bit old style, those are the things that I took from him.
How do you balance all of those years, your personal life and your desire, and your career dreams and dedication?
What do you mean balance in what way?
Balance your personal life and your career dreams. Like, how do you balance that?
Ah, uh, well, sometimes was hard indeed. Sometimes was hard. Um, I guess, well, two ideas come to mind. One is I was being aware all the time of what I was doing. So when I was working very hard, when there was something special that would come up, and I say, well, in the next month, because of this and that, I will have to put more. So I knew I was managing the level of commitment that I was putting in things, and I was trying to anticipate that, and then create the compromises that would allow that to happen. Right. So, if you will, I was not burying myself in work and losing sight of everything. Right. I always like to be in control. I'm a bit of a control freak. So I take notes. I have my agendas. So I know where I'm going. I never kind of start doing something like a crazy man and evolve. Here it is. No, I always plan things. So yeah, self-awareness and not losing sight of where I was. And the second thing is I always wanted to keep the goals in the air because I understand the importance. Always understood the importance of professional side, the family side, and the friends. And so I wanted to keep them all, right? I would say that you guys, if someone believes something is important, you will not let it go. The problem is when you were working very hard and you forget that the other things are important, right? And then you say, okay, I don't mind for a while, and then suddenly you wake up and you say, oh, I forgot that. So keeping in mind what is important, very good an idea of what is important, and then being organized and being self-aware, being kind of in control.
Do you have any last words of advice for the next generation coming to the labor market and adulthood?
I would say world is changing so fast, so much faster than 20 or 30 or 40 years ago. It's amazing. So keeping fresh, keeping a mindset of a learner, right? You're now in school, you're learning. That's what you're doing. Your profession now is learning. Never leave school. That's sometimes I tell people never when you leave school, you have to keep learning. So, and when you're not in school, you're learning, right? So using opportunities in life to learn and learn help. People don't learn so much with TikToks and short videos and whatnot. So learning things that matter, being fresh would be one of the things. And the other one, I guess it's this point that I was making before about work ethic and about the discipline and responsibility and working hard. I said, two things. The first thing I said was this notion of you're learning now, be a learner forever, right? Keep in your mind, using all the opportunities you have to do helpful things, to grow, to know more, right? To know more. Don't waste so much time in social media, I would also say. So that's the first thing. Invest in yourself. Be fresh. Be interesting, right? Be smart.
Yeah.
Be thoughtful. Be whatever. And the second thing, in the context of this work ethic and having discipline and being responsible, one thing I would say that these days sometimes becomes more and more important for me is, don't forget that it's important to be a good person, right? To be a good person. It connects with this point about being interested in people, right? We are social animals, and we will make a difference with our lives, and we'll make people happy around us, and we'll make a contribution to society if we have the right values, right? So be civil, be polite, be a good person. No, I would say those two things: invest in yourself, being a good person, and those are the two things that you can do for yourself. No one has to tell you, right? There's two good things that will make you a better, more helpful person for society.
Thank you so much for sharing your experience and your advice to teens like me, and I hope a lot of people will understand and get help from your advice. Thank you so much for your time, um, guys. We're going to see you next time. Okay, bye bye.
Bye, guys. Take care.